This is TV47. Happy holidays.
Tonight, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko is a man under siege. 88 MCAs have voted to oust the embattled county boss, who is the latest entrant to the glowing list of ousted governors. Sonko's goose to some was cooked. His deputy resigned more than 2 years ago. His frosty relationship with the County Assembly of Chaos was already tainted. The man who publicly brags about his philanthropy has no one to assist him, or will the rule of law? Remember Ferdinand Waititu Babayao, the man who was impeached and replaced immediately? Now, whether Sonko's fate will resemble that of Babayao or other governors who have been in similar situation is a question only time will tell, as his case now heads to the Senate. A house that saved Anne Waiguru, Mwangi Wairia, Martin Wambora, Paul Chepkwony, and the late Nderitu Gachagua. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi on TV47 News Tonight.
The net effect of these results is that the motion has been carried, and therefore the Assembly has resolved to remove His Excellency the Governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, from office by 2/3 of the members.
Tonight, under siege, Nairobi County Governor finally impeached by the County Assembly despite attempts to scuttle House quorum by transporting MCAs to Kwale County. Also tonight, Nyanza region registers the highest number of BBI signatures as Secretariat says a total of 4.6 million signatures were collected in the last 7 days. Plus, tonight we show you horrific pictures of police officers brutalizing university students in Taita Taveta County. And sheer irony as COVID-19 ravaged the United States of America advises its nationals not to travel to Kenya due to high risk of contracting the virus. Tonight of all nights, Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, begins right now. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. Now, more than 4.6 million BBI signatures have been collected in the past 1 week as the signature collection drive comes to an end on Thursday. The signatures are now set to be handed over to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, for verification ahead of the highly touted BBI referendum. David Mudoka begins our broadcast tonight.
As the BBI signatures collection exercise came to a climax on Thursday, the BBI Secretariat has revealed that more than 4.6 million signatures were collected in the past 7 days. According to region-by-region statistics released on Thursday by the BBI National Secretariat, 780,427 signatures were collected in Nyanza, this being the highest tally of signatures collected in any region. The Eastern region trails with 761,776 signatures collected. The Rift Valley region is third with 667,731 collected signatures, as the Central region follows with 643,880 signatures collected. 608,578 signatures were collected in the Coast region. This as the Western region recorded 525,323 collected signatures, 461,934 signatures were collected in Nairobi. 135,091 more were collected in the northeastern region, while a further 43,423 signatures were collected online.
These figures are sending a strong message that Nyanza is more than ready for the referendum. If it is held in the next 4 weeks, we shall go for it.
Tunaonesha kwamba Nairobi sasa ni BBI na Nairobi tayari tumetoka na Nairobi tayari viongozi wako pamoja.
Majority of the people who signed, right, will still need a lot of civic education, and we are committed to ensuring that we have civic education.
Kama tulivyozipokea na leo tarudisha Nairobi na process imeanza.
And with the ball now on the IEBC court, ahead of a 30-day verification period of the collected signatures, pro-BBI leaders have continued to hit the ground running, drumming up support for the BBI report.
Kila saa ninawaeleza wananchi, BBI si ya kubadilisha au kutupa katiba ile ingine ya 2010. La. BBI is simply amendments ambayo tuliona sisi zote kama Wakenya kwamba imefika kiwango after 10 years ndio nini kidogo turekebishe, ndio nini kidogo tuingishe.
Those who never appended their signatures, they have not lost it, because referendum is coming and their participation in the referendum is even much more required.
IEBC will only require 1 million of the 4.6 million signatures collected for verification, even as the BBI Secretariat exuded confidence in attaining its 5 million signatures target by close of day. David Muthoka, TV47.
Still on matters BBI, and the BBI proponents have faulted Deputy President William Ruto over his mixed signals on the BBI report. However, the second in command is still pushing for a non-contested referendum alongside the 2022 polls. Joash Onsare now reports.
A section of leaders from Mount Kenya region have dismissed the allegations by Tangatanga political faction that the government is concentrating much on building bridges initiative instead of putting its efforts in flattening the COVID-19 curve that is escalating daily. Speaking in Nyeri, the leaders also dismissed the proposals by Deputy President William Ruto to hold the referendum alongside the 2022 polls.
I'm hearing others saying that we should stop BBI and do other things, focus on COVID. Government is able to have many hands. We can do many things at once.
Train has left the station. And let us stop the propaganda about how much money will be spent on this BBI process.
The biggest problem with Kenyans is that we always want to associate personalities with such important national patriotic duties. The amendment of a constitution should not be tied to any individual.
They were reacting to DP Ruto's new demands on the BBI report, among them to halt the referendum drive. DP Ruto has however defended his stand on an uncontested referendum. His allies also calling for suspension of the BBI process.
Kenya is big enough for all of us, and it's never too late to do the right thing. We must always strive to do the right thing.
Should you even want to go to a referendum, this is not the time. It would be irresponsible for us as leaders to be spoiling for a fight and go to a campaign when our children are at home, when our economy is doing badly, and when people are dying of the coronavirus.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, however, called on the political class to soften their hand stances on the ongoing BBI debate and embrace a culture of dialogue ahead of the much anticipated referendum that has to take place in 2022. Mudavadi says it is time all leaders rally behind the ongoing BBI process for it to come to an end as early as possible, saying prolonging the exercise until 2022 will hurt the country further.
Na haya maneno ili tukienda mbele, agenda ya 2022, vile umesema, mimi napenda kuzungumza mambo ya uchumi. Nataka nafasi ya kutosha ya kuongea mambo ya uchumi, niwachane kuongea mambo ya BBI. So that we do not prolong this process anymore.
Speaking in Embu, Baringo Senator Gideon Moi also faulted the DP, saying he's only aiming at derailing the BBI process. A section of deputy governors from Western Kenya have also faulted the DP and his allies.
So, let me watch in kwa lugha ya Kimombo. You cannot be a little bit pregnant. Are we together? You've understood? Either or. So kwa hii, yes or no.
Lakini kwa mambo ya BBI, kuna watu wanazungumza na sauti nyingi sana. Wanasema yes, lakini no yao ni kubwa sana. Lazima tujue hawa watu penye tunatoka, at the ward level, at the constituency level, at the county level, and at the national level.
We cannot have a document, as I was saying, that can satisfy everybody. And I don't know, when you say that you want to have consensus, there's no constitution in the world that people have had a consensus. There's nowhere.
In Nakuru, Governor Lee Kinyanjui called for more concerted effort by leaders in launching a sensitization campaign to sell the referendum drive. Kinyanjui said there have been a number of leaders who have been giving wrong information to Kenyans in a move to oppose the document.
There is need for us to have massive civic education because a lot of propaganda has been inflicted on the society. People are citing issues that are not even in the BBI.
The National Council of Churches, NCCK, is also calling for the referendum to be held alongside the 2022 polls.
We call upon the members of parliament and the Electoral Boundaries Commission to consult, and that is why we are saying let there be consultation on all the proposals that are coming on the way.
In what appears to be warming up for a no camp, Deputy President William Ruto called for more amendments to the BBI report. The second in command met his allies Wednesday, Ruto however insisting that the country should not be subjected to a yes-no contest. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko has finally been ousted from office after 88 members of the Nairobi County Assembly voted in favor of the impeachment motion. In a quick rejoinder, Sonko, however, rubbished the impeachment, claiming 57 MCAs in his company at Kwale were included in the voting. Our reporter Mwangi Maina attended the impeachment proceedings and has filed the following report.
The impeachment motion against Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko required at least 82 members of Nairobi County Assembly to sail through as a prescribed 2/3 majority. 88 MCAs voted in favor of the motion, with only 2 MCAs voting against the motion.
The effect of these results is that the motion has been carried, and therefore the Assembly has resolved to remove His Excellency the Governor, Mike Sonko, from office by 2/3 of the members.
Sonko was impeached on grounds of gross misconduct, abuse of office, and lack of capability to lead the county in a motion tabled by Embakasi MCA and Minority Leader Michael Oganda.
We have to correct the mess and ensure that our people, the electorates, the people who serve this county, are receiving the services that they deserve.
The motion was supported overwhelmingly by MCAs who attended the proceedings. Sonko has also been accused of derailing the operations of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS by failing to assent to the Nairobi County budget of 2020-2021.
Huyu gavana wetu mwenyewe alikiri ya kwamba ameshindwa na kazi. Na alipokiri ameshindwa na kazi, alienda bila kutuuliza sisi kama wajumbe. alienda akakutana na rais kule Ikulu, wakaelewana ya kwamba yeye anakubali kuachilia sehemu ya mamlaka yake ili jukumu ambayo ameshindwa kufanya ipewe mtu mwingine aifanye. Nobody has violated chapter 6 in this country more often like Governor Sonko, Mr. Speaker.
There was intense lobbying across both sides, with Sonko ostensibly treating a number of MCAs to a holiday at the coast to dent the prescribed numbers for the motion to pass. MCAs allied to Sonko insist that the voting was bungled.
Person who do not make decisions while he is sober. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thought that is an issue that this House can only correct by removing that person and replacing him with a person who can see better, who can make better decisions, who can attend meetings when they are sober.
The clerks of the assembly and the IT department have decided to log in members with their names and voted for members. 88. My phone, I switched off my phone on Monday.
Governor Sonko has, however, decried of intimidation by the police and outside forces. Sonko says that no amount of abuse of police power or intimidation will bow him down. This sets the stage for a bruising legal battle, as the Industrial and Labor Relations Court earlier this week issued conservatory orders barring MCAs from discussing the impeachment motion. Sonko's governorship hangs in the balance, as all eyes are on Senate that can either uphold the impeachment motion or overturn the Assembly's decision. The impeachment of Governor Sonko puts Nairobi in a leadership crisis. In the event the Senate approves his impeachment, the county speaker will take charge of the county for 90 days before a by-election can be held, since Nairobi does not have a deputy governor. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Quarter an hour past 9 p.m. Time for us to take a short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka County 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how Equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka County 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo. Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha.
This is TV47. Happy holidays.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us on your channel of choice, the County's Television. Let's get to more news. And the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention has issued a travel advisory against Kenya, listing it as a high-risk level 4 COVID-19 area. However, the Kenyan government has rubbished the claim, saying that the COVID-19 infections are under control, with infections declining steadily. Zainab Mohammed now reports.
A diplomatic row is brewing between Kenya and the United States after the US CDC issued a travel advisory against Kenya, listing it as a high-risk level 4 COVID-19 area. According to the advisory, Americans are advised against traveling to Kenya, and should it be a must for them to travel, the CDC advises that they should be tested 3 days before they travel, wear their masks during the travel while staying 6 feet from people who are not traveling with them, get tested before traveling back to the United States, and self-isolate for at least 7 days upon arrival in the US. However, the Kenyan government has rubbished those claims, saying COVID-19 infections in the country are under control, with the infections steadily declining.
It's not a surprise if the CDC in America feels that they want to grade the situation in Kenya to level 4, as well as issue a travel advisory. I think people are following. You know very well that even when international air travel was resumed, was a very cautious approach by countries, including our own country, in terms of who would allow to come into the country. And I think every country is trying to do that just so that they are able to protect themselves. We feel that where we are in terms of the pandemic, of course, we are going through a second spike, but we believe that, and we have seen over the last several days, that although our positivity rate had shot up to very high numbers of 18 to 20% at some point, we have been seeing that positivity rate fall down to levels of around 12% or so.
This even as Kenya records the highest number of COVID-19 recoveries in a single day, after 11,177 people were reported to have recovered. 1,253 more people have contracted the virus, as 16 more people succumbed to the disease. The Ministry of Health says it's not worried about the travel advisory issued by the US, as it is on top of its game in COVID-19 management. Zainab Mohammed, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, a CCTV video of police officers in Voi brutally beating students of Coast Institute of Technology and forcing them to crawl on waterlogged floor has elicited sharp reaction. However, Francis Sang, the commander of Taita Taveta County, has disputed allegations against the police officers who allegedly broke into the ladies' hostel. Joan Maina reports.
CCTV footage of police officers from Voi station has emerged showing officers brutalizing students. The officers are seen beating up students who are crawling in waterlogged floor. The police officers stormed the hostel before proceeding to beat the students with their police batons. Now the students want justice served.
Another thing, walikuja hadi wakatuingilia kwa hostel, of which hostel iko nje ya shule, and that is our privacy. Hiyo si haki ilitendeka na tungependa tutendewe haki.
Wao walipofika huko kwa gate ya shule wakaspread, so wakakuja kufika huko wakaona tu imekuwa indicated St. Elizabeth hostels, so wakaingia tu huku ndani na kuanza kuchapa wanafunzi, kuwatoanisha huku ndani, thinking that walikuwa kwa maandamano, na wenye walikuwa kwa maandamano ni wengine.
However, the county police commander Taita Taveta County, Francis Sang, speaking in a phone interview, has disputed the allegations against the police officers, asking everyone with complaints over police brutality to report at Voi police station.
Yesterday there was no confrontation, there was no fight, there was nothing. Ile kitu iko yesterday, our officers was just on patrol because these students were trying to regroup themselves. We didn't know their intention, but our officers, after going around, they realized that there was nothing wrong. So our officers just went around all throughout. There was no confrontation, and I don't know where these allegations are coming from. And whoever has any complaint, let them come and complain at the police station.
This comes after 2 days of protest by students from the Coast Institute of Technology demanding the school principal and his deputy to leave the institution. Joan Maina, TV 47.
Elsewhere, a teacher from India is the 2020 winner of the Global Teacher Prize Award. He was announced at the first ever virtual ceremony of the event. His predecessor is Peter Tabichi, a Kenyan teacher who was the first African to win the award. This year, the award attracted 12,000 nominations and applications from 140 countries. Sharon Baranga reports.
And the winner of the Global Teacher Prize 2020 is Ranjit Desale from India.
Desale is a primary school teacher from Maharashtra in India. At first, he wanted to be an IT engineer, but things did not work out. His father then suggested he take up teaching. This he agreed hesitantly.
It's such a great honor, and I'm receiving this honor on behalf of millions of students, teachers, those who are working hard in these hard times of COVID, and those who are working to lighten the life of millions of students.
You represent the creativity, compassion, and resolve of all teachers, especially during this pandemic. I now encourage you to use this platform to give every teacher a voice.
Ranjit Singh's story is testimony that the best teachers combine their knowledge, strength, and great spirit to help those most urgent in need.
I just wanted to create a learning environment for every student that could spark the...
Desale had to learn Kannada, a language spoken by a community in India which widely practiced early marriage. Now able to communicate, he redesigned all the textbooks of grades 1 to 4 for better comprehension, along with unique QR codes that embedded audio poems, video lectures, stories and assignments in Kannada. These books benefited many girls when schools were closed for 2 months due to a terror attack. Now, 98% of his students have achieved expected learning outcomes.
Teachers are real change makers, and they do change the lives of students with a mixture of chalk and challenges. They believe in sharing because sharing is growing.
The Global Teacher Prize Award has been likened to the Nobel Prize, but this is special for teachers. This year, the award attracted 12,000 nominations and applications from 140 countries. Disale announced that he will be sharing the $1 million with the other 9 finalists.
The 50% of the prize money will be equally shared with the rest of 9 top 10 finalists, because I believe together we can make a difference and we can make this world a better place.
Before the announcement of the world's best teacher, another teacher was recognized.
Global Teacher Prize COVID Hero Award goes to Jamie Frost from the United Kingdom. Jamie, your internationally acclaimed website for math tuition, Dr. Frost Maths, has had over 7 million resource downloads and is making fun for children all over the world, especially during the pandemic.
This year, 2 teachers from Nigeria and South Africa made it to the top 10 finalists. Lina Anyango, a Kenyan teacher, made it to the top 50 list.
Let us always remember, when you promote education, you are empowering the society and changing the world for the better.
Disale's predecessor is Peter Tabichi, a Kenyan teacher who became the first African to win the award in 2019. The Global Teacher Prize is sponsored by the Vaki Foundation and UNESCO. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Well, from 12,000 nominations from 140 countries, he emerged the winner. And immediately after that, all he does is to say he will share the $1 million, which is averagely 110 million shillings now, with the other 9 finalists. A golden heart indeed. Congratulations to Disale for his outstanding work in educating young girls from poor communities. Well, that takes us to another short break here on TV 47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. We will be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo. Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo. Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo. Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo. Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't.
This is TV47. Happy holidays.
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Now, Millicent Kithinji, who was arrested a few weeks ago for hosting sex parties for school-going children, has been released on cash bond. While making the ruling, Milimani Law Court Senior Resident Magistrate Caroline Muthoni disagreed with the prosecution's reasons for detaining the suspect, given the prosecution until the 15th of December to conclude their investigations.
After spending close to 3 weeks behind bars, Millicent Kithinji, who was arrested for hosting 44 school-going teens who were allegedly quote-unquote blowing off some steam at her house on the 23rd of November, has been released on a personal bond of 200,000 shillings. This was after Milimani Law Court Senior Resident Magistrate Caroline Muthoni failed to agree with the prosecution's reasons for detaining Millicent and 3 other suspects for over 2 weeks.
Accordingly, I do not find good reasons have been given for the continued detention of the suspects herein. The reasons given to justify the continued detention and or conditional release being aspects of the investigations as taking witness statements, obtaining call data from cell phones, and securing forensic reports on cybercrime aspects of the case. This can be accomplished even with the suspects being out of custody.
The senior magistrate ruling that the suspects be released on a cash bond of 200,000 shillings each, further directing the prosecution to conclude their investigations by 15th December when the case will be mentioned.
For the above reasons, the suspects will each be released on a personal bond of 200,000 with a contact person each. We mention on the 15th of December to confirm if the investigations are complete.
Millicent was arrested at her house in Mountain View Estate in Nairobi after 44 school-going children who were reported missing were found at her house. According to the police, the children were having sex and consuming drugs such as alcohol and bhang. Musa Salah, TV47.
Elsewhere, the government now wants healthcare workers to suspend their strike, which is set to start on Monday next week. Health CS Mutahi Kagwe and his Labour counterpart Simon Chelgui have ordered KEMSA to supply healthcare workers with PPEs worth 3 billion shillings. Andrin Kilemi now reports.
The government is calling on health workers to suspend their strike scheduled to kick off on Monday. Through the Ministry of Labour, the government has promised to address their demands by next week. The government seemingly bowing to doctors' demands, who have since been threatening to strike over lack of COVID-19 protective gears.
We are saying our doors are open. Already the two PSS at technical level yesterday had a full day engaging the health workers, and that demonstrates the goodwill that Dr. Taria spoke about, and we will continue, because even us as Ministry of Labour, as government, are committed to industrial harmony, are committed to peaceful working relationship between workers and employers.
In a press conference Thursday, Labour CS Simon Chelgui KEMSA to supply doctors with PPEs worth 3 billion shillings. However, health workers in Kisumu have termed the wait as long overdue, issuing the government with a 3-day ultimatum to sign their CBA before Monday next week.
We are telling the government, both national and county through COG, to move with speed and ensure that our CBA is signed between today and Monday morning. If not, we shall not go back to work until our CBA is signed.
This even as health workers across the country insist on the need to be included in the BBI report before it is submitted to the IEBC, county assemblies and the parliament. Andrin Kilemi, TV47.
Elsewhere, leaders from Isiolo County want the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to investigate Garissa Governor Ali Korane for allegedly inciting Garissa residents against the Borana in Isiolo. This comes a few days after several people were killed in Isiolo following disputes over pasture in the border area between the two counties.
I will actually urge NCIC to urgently investigate what is happening and what Governor Korane and the leaders who are with him, they are known. And he was actually in the company of County Commissioner Garissa, who is a representative of national government, who is supposed to make sure that there is peace between Isiolo and Garissa County.
Alitoa vitisho na akasema ya kwamba kutokea siku ya jana atanunulia watu wake wa Garissa silaha ya kuja kuua na kutoa watu wa Isiolo katika sehemu zetu za Isiolo ambaye tunakaribiana na Garissa County.
Today we are being told they are regrouping to revenge. If there is any revenge that is going to happen in that area, we hold him accountable and the government should be able to intervene. The kids are not going to school, and next year they are going to sit for exams, especially a place called Korbesa. The chief has run away, and this is a center that belongs to Isiolo County. It doesn't belong to them.
Elsewhere, Samburu West Member of Parliament Naisula Lesuda has said that the drafting of an amendment bill on the safety of cyclists and pedestrians on the Kenyan road is ongoing. Speaking in Nairobi, where she was accompanied by national cyclist groups, Lesuda has revealed that the bill has already been approved for debate by the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi. According to the MP, the bill seeks to ensure cycling, walking lanes and other road infrastructure that aid in attaining sustainable road transport systems in Kenya are in place and prioritized.
Even as I draft and I do the whole process in Parliament, I urge on the CS and everybody else who is involved in designing our roads, because every day you see roads are being built, that we include pathways for people to walk, and we also include for cyclists. Actually, many people in Kenya would want to cycle to work.
We all know that majority of Kenyans are actually pedestrians, and a good number of Kenyans are now moving towards cycling as their main mode of transport. But unfortunately, the Traffic Act, as it is, does not protect pedestrians and cyclists. So we've been left vulnerable on the roads.
Now, as the world marked the International Day for People Living with Disability, community and religious leaders have been asked to help the government in registering people living with disability to ensure they benefit from government funds. The day was marked in various parts of the country with calls for people to embrace those living with disability.
Of today's event is that not all disabilities are visible. And this is the opportunity that we took to launch the Employable program, which is supported by Standard Chartered Bank. Employable program aims to reach at least 4,500 students.
What I want to say is that it's of concern that we have so many persons with disability who have not been registered with the Council for the Persons with Disability. I'm urging, especially the community health workers, the leaders, opinion leaders, and church leaders, and all other organized groups to actually help the government in identifying the persons with disability so that they can be registered with the council.
Duty for the assistive devices that are being used in this facility and people living with disabilities is a challenge that I've told Honorable Sankok we will pick it up and be able to co-sponsor a bill with him in the National Assembly to exempt those assistive devices from duty. And I will not only co-sponsor, I've told him I will second that bill for him and mobilize support in the National Assembly.
Kwanza juu nilifanya diploma, nikajaribu kutafuta job lakini sikupata. Most of the challenging nimekuwa nikipitia ni unapata mtu ako tayari kukupea kazi lakini environment is not conducive. Unapata hakuna ramps, hakuna choo, hakuna venye unaweza fanya kazi. So hata kama hakuna job opportunity huwezi fanya hiyo kazi. So unaenda kwa hauna kazi because huwezi access the place, huwezi access. So inakuwa ni ngumu sana.
Kenya is big enough for all of us. And it's never too late to do the right thing. We must always strive to do the right thing. It is never too late to do it.
Well, indeed, it's never too late to do the right thing. And part of the right things to do is to embrace those who are living with disabilities. Time for us to get to the world of sports now, and let's bring in sportsman Dennis Otieno, who joins us on the broadcast now. Dennis, to you.
Well, thank you very much, Abubakar Abdullahi. Now, among the sports that we're going to have lined up for you tonight include Iten, the home of champions, getting fitted as an iconic athletics ground globally. Also, we have the Rising Stars who jetted back into the country today safely, with the head coach of the team blaming foul play on Uganda. Also, speaking about coaches, we have some news regarding the AFC Leopards head coach. Now, this and more coming up in just a bit. A very warm welcome to Primetime Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno, and we shall start off with local news. Now, Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed Thursday afternoon presided over the launch of the World Athletics Heritage Plaque, awarded to Iten for its contribution to development of athletics in the world. Amina was accompanied by the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott, Environment and Forestry Principal Secretary Chris Kipto, Athletics Kenya President Jackson Tuwei, Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Alex Tolgos, and a host of retired and active world athletes.
Thank you so much.
In fact, the declaration by World Athletics President Lord Sebastian Coe to recognize Iten as World Athletics Heritage Site just confirms the importance and the contribution of Iten to global athletics history. The Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage, through the Kenya Academy of Sports, will roll out comprehensive sports talent development programs through the establishment of sport academies across the country to harness talent, and we want to do this as early as possible. The development of Kamarini Elite Hub and Iten Sports Park, which are part of the Iten Urban Economic Plan being launched here today, will be at the core of nurturing athletics talent. Indeed, Iten has transformed the lives of many sportswomen and sportsmen. It has been the converging place where careers in elite sports have been identified, they have been shaped and elevated to international standards.
Now, still on athletics and within the North Rift region, under-20 athletes in the country Wednesday afternoon underwent a seminar organized by Athletics Kenya and the Athletics Integrity Unit AIU that sought to sensitize the athletes over the importance of practicing clean sports. Speaking while addressing young athletes from Uasin Gishu, Nandi and Elgeyo Marakwet counties in the seminar, AIU Head of Education Adia Kumar cited that transparency and fairness is key in sports.
We are grooming a new generation of athletes that is to take over from the old athletes who are retiring now. And they are in part of making them people of honor, people of integrity. We have imparted this kind of a seminar such that they can grow up knowing all the vices and grow up to be who they should be and emulate characters like Eliud Kipchoge, Mary Keitany, and all those who have made this country. I want to urge that such education continues, not only for this session. These sessions are facilitated because of the new COVID-19 measures, and when we resume normalcy, we want to see much of education than even other activities, because an educated person will always be the right person to save the society and in fact the image of Kenya in the coming years. We want to dwell on the youth, and the youth are the future. We are seeing a very bright future in this youth, and we don't want to lose the gains that we've got them.
Now moving on to some football news, where AFC Leopards has announced that Thomas Tuchel has resigned as the club's head coach after 1 month since taking charge, as the coach cites threats to his agent's life as the reason for his decision. Through a statement released by AFC Leopards authorities, the remaining technical bench shall take charge as the club considers a replacement, while lashing at the club supporters who are accused of issuing the threats to the tactician. Trucha was in charge of Leopards' season opener on Saturday, where Ingwe emerged victorious by 2-1 against Tusker FC at the Kasarani Stadium. The Kenya Under-20 national football team head coach Stanley Okumbi has expressed his disappointment over the results registered by the Rising Stars in the Sekafa Under-20 Championships held in Arusha, Tanzania.
Jaza ndani kwa lango la timu ya Kenya kule. Uganda wanatangulia kupata goli. Uganda wanatangulia kupata goli. Kona iliyopigwa na Najibu Yigia. Pasi sasa ile atafanya nini? Piga shuti ndani, lakini
the criteria of coming up with these teams, because sincerely speaking,
Uganda they were overage. I don't know if they'll change, but if maybe we need to improve football in our region, I think we just need to go with the right age during that tournament. Na naweza sema that pia experience ya their players compared na our players, naweza sema that iko juu, because you see now some of their players wanacheza baka